Hey guys, it's Tim, and this is PW Unlimited Wednesday Show, episode number 69. Yep, episode number 69. I want to say a thank you to everybody who has been watching the new PW Unlimited Daily Show, the morning show we've got at 11 a.m. Pacific, every Monday through Friday. You guys are making that show do good numbers, and I'm appreciative of that. I really want to say thank you to everybody that's watched the show so far. Hopefully, with your guys' feedback, we can grow that show into something really, really cool. Maybe even something like something that no one's doing right now as far as the wrestling content on YouTube goes. I don't know exactly where we can grow it to 100%, but you know, once more things go into it, you know, I get some more ideas, I get some more feedback from you guys and whatnot, then we can see about adding more segments, doing maybe some listener stuff as far as like you sending in questions or videos, but that's not what we're here to talk about. That show, it's every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at roughly 11 a.m. Pacific. This is the Wednesday show. The show, that's for you guys. Your guys' opportunity to call in about anything you want to call in about. Give your thoughts, text messages as well. If you do want to call into the show, you can do so at 559-475-8473, 559-475-8473. You can also text your thoughts and questions in to 510-906-1341. And if you're just in the live chat, the best way to get your questions in the live chat answered is to send in a super chat donation. Every donation does help the channel tremendously. So one of the first things I wanted to talk about tonight is to do with Vince McMahon. Just a little tease. We're not going to get into it yet because I want to let a couple more of you guys jump in on the stream. We've only been live for about 2 minutes now. Let's see who's with us in the live stream. We've got Luke Might, Kristen McNutt, Beastie Boy 124, Jason Hong, Mark Sanchez, Nicholas Altimore. We've also got Marcus Ryan, Lane Schurer. What is going on, everybody? Let's see. So, I do want to say that today's episode is sponsored by Inside Editions. Inside Editions, the makers of the new WWE Cookbook and the WWE Pop Quiz Trivia Deck. You can go check out the links that I'm going to put in the description below if you do want to know more about those. We'll be taking calls, Camden, but not right away. We usually don't take the calls right away. We take them after a little while. I'm going to talk about some stuff. So let's get right into it as far as Vince McMahon goes. So this news does come to us from Brandon Thurston. Brandon Howard Thurston. Brandon Howard Thurston reports that Vince McMahon has sold over 3 million of his WWE stocks, which come out to roughly $270 million. It is reported by Thurston that the sales of these stocks, the money that he got from these stocks, will go to fund his Alpha Entertainment Company, which is the company that runs the XFL. As of right now, Vince McMahon still owns roughly 36% of the stock in the WWE and has 80% of the voting power. Now, as far as the listing filed by the SEC, they state the following. On March 27, 2019, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, or Mr. McMahon, chairman and CEO of World Wrestling Entertainment, Inc., sold 3,204,427 shares of the company's Class A common stock in a block trade made in accordance with the provision of Rule 144, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to read all those terms, but the main thing here is, you know, they say that it's going to fund his XFL league and Alpha Entertainment, and the last line here in the first paragraph says, Mr. McMahon has informed the company that he has no current plan to sell additional shares of the company's stock and that he intends to continue in his capacity as the company's CEO and chairman for the foreseeable future. So it looks like Vince McMahon ain't slowing down anytime soon. Vince McMahon's going to stay the, CEO of the WWE. He does not want to leave anytime soon. So, hey, Some people are upset about that. Some people are like, just get the man out of here. I don't know. Sometimes Vince has good ideas. Sometimes Vince has bad ideas. So it's tough to say. Do I always agree with what Vince does? No. But you're never going to agree with what everybody does, what everybody says. Excuse me. It's kind of a thing of, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. We don't know. Say, sirens are on my end if you guys are wondering. Say Vince McMahon leaves the WWE. We don't know. We could assume it may make the company better, but we don't know 100% if it's going to make the company better. Say Vince McMahon leaves, and then all of a sudden the company gets worse. Yeah, you could say, well, look how Triple H has taken NXT and made that a great show. Okay, that's a 1 hour weekly pre-taped show where they tape 3 to 4 episodes every month. We don't know how Triple H is going to be in charge of a show where he's going to have tapings every Monday, tapings every Tuesday, pay-per-views, this, that. What has he got? 3, 5, at least 7 hours of new weekly content when you go 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours of SmackDown, 1 hour of 205 Live, 1 hour of main event. And we don't even know if Triple H is also going to stay running NXT once he is fully in charge of WWE, or if somebody else is going to take over NXT. And the other big question here is WWE going to take the Vince McMahon role of a final say over everything like Vince has? Or is there going to be Vince or Triple H and somebody else? Is it Triple H and Stephanie and they have to agree? Is it Triple H and... I don't know. I'm just saying. Is there going to be Triple H and somebody else, or is it just going to be Triple H? We don't know. There's a lot of questions to be answered as far as what's going to happen when Vince leaves. And as of right now, Vince is saying that he's sticking around for the quote-unquote foreseeable future. Excuse me. So we'll see how it goes. I just live the day by day as far as thinking, everyone's always going online. Oh man, Raw sucked. Vince needs to leave. Oh man, SmackDown wasn't good. Vince needs to leave. But why even worry about it? It's like, yeah, people can go on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and say that over and over again, but it's not like it's going to make anything happen just because a lot of people on Twitter think Vince should leave, and we don't even know if that's going to, like I said, if Vince retires and leaves the WWE to Triple H, we don't know if that's going to make the company better. We don't know if it's going to make the company worse. So it's just a lot of people think it's one issue, and yes, Vince is a major issue as far as he likes to change his mind all the time. But there's a lot of different things that can go into it that we don't even know. So we'll see how that works. But if you guys do want to call in, 559-475-8473. 559-475-8473 is the phone number. If you do want to text in your questions, you can do so to 510-906-1341. We'll start taking questions now. Now that we're almost 10 minutes in, a good time to start taking some questions. So, the next thing I want to talk about is Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, G1 SuperCard. So we do know the full lineup for G1 SuperCard. We know all the matches that will be taking place on this show. But we also know that if you don't watch it live, say you can't afford the pay-per-view, say you don't have New Japan World, say you don't have Honor Club, you will be able to watch the show on Access TV over a 2-week period. So Access TV sent out the following press release stating, Access TV, the exclusive U.S. broadcast home of New Japan Pro Wrestling, is proud to announce it will premiere a 2-part special for the sold-out G1 SuperCard, a co-promotion between Ring of Honor and New Japan at Madison Square Garden on Friday, April 12th, and Friday, April 9th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. And then just goes on to talk about the G1 SuperCard and all the different things. So that's really cool. If you don't have the means of watching it live, don't fret. That next Friday, then the Friday after that, you can watch it in 2 sittings. So that's really cool. But as far as all the matches on the show, the matches read as followed. The Women of Honor Championship will be on the line when Mayu Iwatani defends against Kelly Klein. Zack Sabre Jr. will be defending the Rev Pro British Heavyweight Championship against Hiroshi Tanahashi. Both the Never Openweight Championship and the Ring of Honor World Television Championship will be on the line when Will Ospreay goes up against Jeff Cobb. The IWGP Intercontinental Championship will be on the line when Tetsuya Naito goes up against Kota Ibushi. On the pre-show, there will be an Honor Rumble, kind of like their Battle Royal Rumble thing. Roosh will be taking on Dalton Castle. Bully Ray will be holding a New York City Street Fight Open Challenge. Now, I thought that it could have been Flip Gordon accepting this Open Challenge. But Flip's still hurt. Flip may have actually re-messed up his knee, re-injured his knee, possible meniscus tear. That's 3 to 4 months on the sideline. Going forward, we got the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship on the line, where Taiji Ishimori defends against Bandito and Dragon Lee. In a fatal four-way, winner-take-all, with the IWGP and the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships on the line, we've got the Guerrillas of Destiny, PCO and Brody King, Evil and Sonata, and the Briscoes. But this Sunday, before G1 SuperCard, PCO and Brody King will be defending their championships against the Briscoes. I don't know why, but I think the reason for that was because that match was announced before this was turned into a four-way. So they just like, we already announced it, let's just do it. And with a Ring of Honor World Championship on the line in a triple threat ladder match, Jay Lethal will be defending against Matt Taven and Marty Scurll. And finally, with the IWGP Heavyweight Championship on the line, Jay White will be defending against the former champion Kazuchika Okada, or Kazuchika Okada, however you want to say it. So that is the lineup for G1 SuperCard. G1 SuperCard comes to us from Madison Square Garden, live on Honor Club, New Japan World, a Fight TV, and traditional pay-per-view on April 6th. Well, I think that's going to be a hell of a show. That's going to be a hell of a show. Next week's going to be a crazy week. We're going to be live, I don't even know how many days straight, for a lot of days straight. So here's the schedule for next week, basically. Monday the 1st. Monday's the 1st, right? I believe Monday's the 1st. Let me pull up my calendar. Yes. So Monday, April 1st, we'll be live with our SmackDown review. Monday, April 7th, or Monday, April 2nd, we'll be live with our SmackDown review. Wednesday, April 3rd, which is my birthday, we'll be live with this show, maybe. Thursday, we'll be live talking about the Impact Wrestling United We Stand show. Friday, we'll be live talking NXT TakeOver New York. Saturday, we'll be live talking G1 SuperCard. Sunday, we'll be live talking Mania. Then, after Mania, Monday, back again, Monday Night Raw. That Tuesday, SmackDown Live. So that's essentially 6, 7, 8 shows that we're going to be talking all live in a row. Do it. Plus, we'll have the PWUnlimited Daily Show all that week as well, giving you a bunch of different news. I'm going to bring you, I think I'm going to be, I'll hold it off. We got something cool starting tomorrow on the PWUnlimited Daily Show that ties into WrestleMania week. So now, let's take a call. If Skype will allow it. There we go. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, Tim. How's it going?
Pretty good. Yourself?
I'm doing good. Tim, this is just, I'll put this. I got a question. In your honest opinion, there's some wrestler about the name. I unfortunately never got to see him wrestle. I hear a lot of people in New Japan Pro Wrestling talking about Shibata and how good he was. Honestly, can you give me a overview? How good was Shibata? Because I unfortunately never got to see him. I know I can look at his his mention on New Japan World, but how good was Shibata? How good was he?
So you always hear with New Japan, they have their top 4, and this was like going into this year. You had the top 4: Kenny Omega, Okada, Naito, Tanahashi. Shibata was that number 5 guy. He was primed and ready to be pushed to the top. He was probably, there's a possibility that he could have won the IWGP Heavyweight Championship in 2018. he was one of those guys. He was kind of like a brawler, if you want to say, like, what kind of style did he have? Just the hard-hitting, I don't care, I'll put my body through anything kind of brawler. A little bit like Ishii, but he was like, have you seen what he looks like?
Yeah, I know what Shibata looks like.
Yeah, I wouldn't call him like a skinny guy, but he's maybe a little bit smaller than Okada for anybody listening that hasn't seen him. And he's a brawler. He's got that mentality of, let's just go out there and just hit each other hard. Let's go out there and just beat the hell out of each other. That's his downfall. Unfortunately, he was in a championship match. I want to say it was in I don't know if it was March or February, but it was early 2018. I think it was 2018, where he was in a match with Okada, and he went for a headbutt. Usually when you do like a headbutt, you're going to like, put your hands up to kind of block most of it. He didn't. He had his hands down. He headbutted Okada as hard as he could, busted himself open, and ended up doing brain damage. So
that's what ended his career.
Basically, yeah. Some say that
by here he's training the next proper talent in the dojo.
Yes, he is actually in charge of their U.S.-based dojo in Los Angeles.
Do you think if Shibata didn't get injured, would he be the champ right now?
I don't know if he would be the champ right now, but I think there's a very good chance that either he would have. Well, it's tough because Kenny Omega had that title for most of 2018, and I couldn't have seen him taking it from Kenny Omega. But, I mean, now that Omega's gone, yes, they're going to put the title back on Okada most likely at G1 SuperCard. So maybe this year could have been the year for him to win that title. I mean, like I said, you had the top, the big four that everybody always talked about, but he was right there at number 5. Like, honestly, if he didn't get hurt, Jay White may not be in the spot that he's in now because he would have been in that spot. Maybe not a heel. I don't know if they would have turned him heel or anything, but he was one of their top guys, and they were ready to push him as one of the big future guys.
I see. Well, hopefully I'll go. I was just asking because I never got to see him personally, but I can always look back as matches. Well, thanks for taking my call, Tim.
All right, thanks for the call and have a great night. All right, with that, let's jump into another call. If Skype wants to answer the call. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, Tim. How you doing?
Pretty good. Yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. I just want to ask one question.
Sure.
Over WrestleMania weekend, what is your favorite match WWE-wise? So, like, TakeOver, WrestleMania.
Like, my most anticipated? Oh, that's a tough one. It might be Gargano and Adam Cole.
Who do you think? Oh, wait, crap. I can't ask that because you're going to do predictions.
Just ask it. Go for it.
Who do you think's going to win?
Now, here's the thing with that. I'm going to give you the short answer. I'll give the long answer next week when I do my predictions on this show. But my short answer is Gargano. I would like... Now, actually, I don't... So I think it's probably going to be Gargano because it was most likely going to be Gargano when it was Gargano versus Ciampa. So unless they change that plan, I think it's going to go to Gargano. But I do have a theory on how they could put the title on Adam Cole, which I'll get into next week. It all has to do if Gargano comes to the main roster.
Because I saw a YouTube video. It was either you or it was Heel by Nature or someone else. I don't know who it was. But there was a NXT live event thing where it had a champion versus champion thing with Adam Cole and someone else. I think it was Dream, maybe?
What do you mean as far as champion versus champion?
I don't know. I just remember it
and
being
when
champion
was this?
versus champion.
Was it recent?
Yes, it was very recent. It was like last week.
Because as of the last 3 weeks, there hasn't technically been an NXT champion. So if somebody reported something as champion versus champion, then that was an incorrect report.
Well, no. It was for after TakeOver.
You mean like an advertisement?
Yeah.
I'll have to look into that.
All right.
Because I honestly hadn't seen that.
I remember seeing it. I don't know who I saw it from, but anyway. All right, Tim. Thank you for taking my call, and have a nice night.
All right, thank you, and have a great day. All right, let's just keep running with these calls. Again, if anybody else does want to call in, you can do so by calling 559-475-8473, 559-475-8473. If you can't call in, but you can text in at 510-906-1341. Let's take this call here. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, Tim. How's it going? I was just calling to just, kind of rant about something here. So the whole situation with Charlotte and Asuka, the wrestling community blew up about it, saying that Asuka was buried by Charlotte and all of this. But basically, if you really think about it, Asuka really, was the sacrificial lamb for the women's revolution. In order to unify the women's tag team champions, or in order to get the unification of the women's tag team championship, we need a SmackDown Women's Champion and a Raw Women's Champion in the same match, and that's what's going to happen at WrestleMania. So I feel like Charlotte Flair winning the SmackDown Women's Championship on SmackDown Live was a great idea.
For me, with the Charlotte winning the title thing, it's weird. From what I've heard over the last 24 hours, the idea of having both women's champions in that WrestleMania main event came up a while ago, actually. But the idea for Vince to actually pull the trigger on it didn't come till yesterday afternoon. I mean, like I said on the show last night, and I said this morning on the Daily Show, the women that were going to be in that Fatal 4-Way number 1 contenders match up to let me do the math, because I was told East Coast time, but I live on West Coast time. So that would have been maybe 3-4 hours before SmackDown went on the air. They still thought that they were going to do the Fatal 4-Way match, and that's when everything flipped upside down. So,
plans get changed. WWE changes
exactly,
plans,
and
on the time every single second.
And I get why they would want to do both women's champions in that match, because then it just makes it really, honestly, how do I say this? It makes both championships seem more meaningful than they were, because they're both champions are in the main event. So they're saying the women's champion from SmackDown and the women's champion from Raw are both main eventing WrestleMania. Whether both of those titles are on the line or not, we still don't know.
I really do hope that, it is a unification match, because both divisions, they're just terrible. Who's going to lead? Who is truly for their, to lead the Monday Night Raw other than Ronda Rousey? There's no other woman, realistically, who can lead Raw brand.
Not
so
Becky?
I feel like, Becky Lynch, but, if Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Ronda Rousey, if they're all on Monday Night Raw, who's going to lead SmackDown Live? Asuka?
Who's
going to challenge her for the SmackDown Women's Championship?
Here's the thing, though. If you only have the Raw Women's title on the line, or you do my idea of 2 different falls, 1 for each title, Becky can win the Raw title, Charlotte can retain the SmackDown title, you keep Charlotte on SmackDown, Becky goes over to Raw.
Yeah, but I feel like what they're going to do is, being WWE, how they change things on the dime, I feel like, which I hope this doesn't happen, I feel like at WrestleMania they're going to have either Ronda Rousey beat Charlotte Flair, and then have Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch at the next couple of pay-per-views. And honestly, that shouldn't be how it works. I feel like Becky Lynch should have tap out Ronda Rousey and become the first unified women's champion. But being that this is WWE, they're probably going to do something.
But here's the thing: if you only have one women's champion, it's not going to work properly. It'll work if you have just one women's tag team champion, because there's not many women's tag teams. But when you have all these different women that can go for a singles title, you have enough women on Raw. You have enough women on SmackDown. Yes, there's not a lot of top tier women, but you have enough women you can plug and play enough times throughout the year to challenge the champion or even become the new champion. So when you only have one woman's champion over both brands, then you've got a lot of women that are just going to sit out and do nothing. At least when you have two, you can have 3 or 4 women in play on Raw, 3 or 4 women in play over on SmackDown at all times, going in and out between, challenging and becoming number one contender and in and out. You only have one. Each month you're only going to have like 2 or 3 women even that mean anything or that matter, because one month the title is going to be focused on SmackDown. The other month the title is going to be focused on Raw. And like I said last night, that was one of the issues they had when they did the first draft in 2002.
Well, let's think about the women's tag team championships. Not even the women's. Let's think about the tag team championships. You can see over there on Raw and SmackDown how they're struggling with the divisions and even sometimes not even having the tag team champions on TV, which is stupid. So not only should they do that with the women's championships, but they should also do it with the tag team championships. The tag team division is terrible in the WWE. If you look at NXT, I mean, they're producing 5-star classics at every single takeover, and their booking is incredible. But if you look at WWE, the problem that I see is they have 2 separate tag team divisions. If they merge the division together, then we'll be getting more tag teams on television. Same thing with the women. We'll see more women on television. And I just feel like maybe if they do merge the divisions, then we will see more people not being used on television and getting opportunities.
Not to knock your theory there, but you're kind of thinking backwards. If you have more people in a division and you're only focusing on your champion, your number one contender, and maybe another guy that's trying to become number one contender, then say you've got 12 women in the whole main roster division. You've got your champion in, say, Becky Lynch. Then you have 2 challengers, going for the number one contendership, and say Charlotte and Naomi. Just spitballing names. Then those are 3 women. All those 9 other women, there's nothing for them to do. They're going to just be sitting out. At least when you have 2 different separate divisions, you've got 3 women over on Raw that's being focused on, and 3 other women over on SmackDown that are also being focused on. Now, when you say with the tag teams,
doesn't that come a little repetitive?
Not necessarily, because, you can plug and play different women in or different tag teams in, but at the same time, what makes you think if there's more people in the division, then more people are going to get used? The more people that get brought in, that's more people that are going to sit on the sidelines. Look at the NXT call-ups that came in January. How many of them actually did anything? They came up and they did nothing. You add more people, but you did nothing with them.
McMahon.
Right, and
that's because Vince McMahon.
And you're saying
know how to build talent.
You're saying put all these women together in one division. Nothing's going to change. It's still Vince booking the show.
Well, I feel like, honestly, that if we do merge the divisions, maybe women will get a chance, to show. Because it won't be the same matches. How many times have we seen, let's say, the Riot Squad taking on Sasha Banks, Bayley, Natalya? That, for example. We won't be seeing that at the divisions merge. We'll be seeing very diverse, different matches.
It doesn't matter. They can call up 10 women from NXT and NXT UK tomorrow. They're still going to push the same women that they've been pushing. Just because they get new women in and mixed in, like Nikki Cross, Lacey Evans, what have they done with them? They've added them to the division. They've done nothing with them. And that's basically what you're saying. If they add more women, then more women can be used. But we perfect examples are Nikki Cross and Lacey Evans. They came up, did nothing.
Well, I do respect your opinion, but I really don't agree with that. But my last point that I want to bring up here is this whole Nia Jax thing. People are hating on Nia Jax, and quite honestly, they're calling her, a terrible wrestler and all. But honestly, I've seen a lot of improvement in Nia Jax, to be quite honest with you. Nia Jax, she's getting really better at the mic. I mean, she's real good. To be honest with you, I mean, she's not the best wrestler, but she's getting there and she's getting better.
I mean, I want to say thank you for the call and have a great night. Yeah, she's improved. But she hasn't improved to the level that they wanted her to improve. They wanted to be able to say that Nia is one of the best women's wrestlers they have. And they can't say that. They cannot say that Nia is one of their, say, top 5. She can cut an okay promo. She can hang with some of the other women that can carry her. But when you go in there and you have a match like a Nia Jackson, Dana Brooke match, that match is not going to be good because there's nobody in that can fully carry the match. And so that's the issue. Yes, she's improved. But just like with Dana Brooke, they wanted Dana Brooke to be something as well. She also did not improve in the rate and the what's the word I'm looking for? Quality that they wanted those two women to grow to and progress to. Because, I mean, WrestleMania 33, about 7 months before that, the planned Raw Women's title match was Charlotte Flair versus Dana Brooke. Dana was the quote-unquote protege of Charlotte Flair. She was going to finally say, I've had enough of Charlotte belittling me, go babyface, and challenge Charlotte for the Raw Women's Championship. Dana Brooke was not progressing, not getting any better in the ring. They said, screw it, let's do multi-woman match. Dana wasn't even involved. So, I don't know. As far as what that caller earlier was talking about, I found what he was mentioning as far as champion versus champion in NXT. So Wrestling Inc. reported that a reader sent into them some advertising for an April 28th NXT event in Minnesota, which does list Adam Cole versus the Velveteen Dream in a champion versus champion match. So this would suggest that Adam Cole wins the NXT Championship and Velveteen Dream retains the North American Championship. And this news did come out last Thursday. So almost a week ago. So this is pretty relevantly some new news. We don't know how new the advertising is, if this advertising came out before Ciampa got hurt or after Ciampa got hurt, because if it was before, that'd be really interesting, but one would assume it was after. So if this advertising is correct, Cole and Dream may be walking out the champions. Dream retaining and Adam Cole gaining. And then that would leave Gargano able to come to the main roster. Also, speaking of NXT stars coming to the main roster, Oney Lorcan, he's come to the main roster. Oney Lorcan has done it. Made his way up. Unfortunately, he's only on 205 Live, though. Ashton Tyler says putting the tag teams together is one of the worst things they can do. Again, you have more people in a division, that's less people that are going to get used. Because there's no way you can say, oh, well, if there's 9 women opposed to 5 women, then more people are going to get used. No, that's just more women that are going to sit on the side. Because now, let's say they're all on SmackDown, you can only focus on 2 or 3 at a time. But I'm not going to harp on that anymore. Caller didn't agree. Everybody in the chat seemed to agree with me, not try to toot my own horn or anything. Jason Hong in the live chat says, where's AOP? AOP is actually out right now because I think it is Razor is out with an injury. And because of that, they're not using Occam. Let's take this call. Caller on the air, what's going on?
Hey, Tim, I have a question, actually. Me being of Latin descent and stuff like that, it seems like WWE, there's not really, with Ray, it seems like Ray's going to be retiring soon, and he's not going to be he's not retiring soon, but he's going to be limited dates and stuff like that. I don't see Andrade as a babyface. She's more of a heel. We don't have a babyface Latin superstar to replace Ray in the future because that's what scares me. We don't know how to book a babyface Latin superstar like Ray or Eddie. but when it comes to booking them as heels, we do. Why is that?
Well, before I answer that question, I got to ask you another question. What about Kalisto? They tried pushing Kalisto. They gave him the U.S. title, and the fans, the crowd, just didn't care about it. They tried with Kalisto. Like I said, he was Cruiserweight champion. He was United States champion. And the crowd never got behind him. They did a little bit, but they never fully got behind him. And to WWE, that was more like, we're pushing this guy. That gives them their Rey Mysterio vibes, since they didn't have Rey Mysterio at the time. And the crowd just doesn't care.
Yeah, but with Kalisto, I think his promos are not that good. I think that's why fans couldn't get behind him.
Here's the thing, though.
You can't just get behind a wrestler. Huh?
They don't give him much promo time, so he doesn't have a lot of time to practice in front of the crowds. He doesn't have that. He doesn't get that opportunity to grow as a promo because, yeah, you can practice all you want at the Performance Center and promo class, but it's way different when you're doing it in the ring in front of 12,000 people having to react to their reactions.
Do you think it's Vince not having faith in him?
I don't know. Like I said, they gave him the U.S. title. The fans didn't get behind him, so Vince may have thought. Now, I don't know if this is what Vince thought, but Vince could have easily thought, damn, we're trying to push this guy. They want a masked Latino wrestler, and they don't care about him. So why should we even care to do anything with him? That's what he probably thought of. If the fans didn't care, why should they care to push him?
But like I said, with Andrade, do you see him as a replacement for Rey in the future, like as a babyface, or do you agree with me? He's more of a heel.
He's great as a heel. I think they should keep him as a heel, especially if he's got Zelina Vega. That act probably would not work as a babyface act.
Do you think eventually, like since if they split what's his name, Alistair and Ricochet, because honestly, realistically, I don't think they're going to win the tag team titles on the main roster for either SmackDown or I think they're going to split them up eventually.
Yes.
Do you think they're going to pair Zelina with
No.
Alistair?
Alistair does not need a manager. No. He's not the kind of guy that I don't know if a manager would work for him, to be completely honest. Just because they're married doesn't mean... Just because they're married... Go for it.
No, the reason why I said that is because the perfect example is Brock. He can't do promos. I'm not saying Alistair's bad at promos, but I don't think he's one of those people. Do you think he's not a Brock type of character? Do you think he's more of a Steve Blackman type of character where his striking ability...
Steve Blackman could not cut a promo. Alistair can cut a promo. Alistair's leaps and bounds better than Steve Blackman ever was.
Oh, okay. So back to my question before. So you and it's the same. It feels like the same way with the women's division. They're not really pushing a ton of. Bailey is the exception, but they're not pushing a ton of Hispanic superstars or besides Kofi as well. They're not really pushing like as main eventers. They're not pushing a ton of minority superstars like Hispanic, Japanese, or like Asians in general, or like people from the Hispanic countries, Latin countries, and stuff like that. They're always pushing. I'm not saying WWE is racist or anything. It seems like they prefer more of the white superstars.
Roman Reigns isn't white, and he gets pushed to the moon.
No, that's what I'm saying. Besides Roman, it seems like the majority of they don't really advertise that Seth Rollins is Hispanic, which is odd because he's Hispanic. His actual his regular name is Kobe Lopez.
Correct.
I'm kind of surprised they don't advertise that he's like to push him as a as a Hispanic superstar.
Here's the thing with that. Here's the thing with that. Does he prefer himself as Hispanic, though? I've never once, ever, in WWE or before WWE, heard him refer to himself as Hispanic. Yeah, his last name's Lopez, but that doesn't mean that he thinks that he's a Hispanic superstar or a Hispanic wrestler.
Yeah, because he doesn't do, like, when they say Hispanic superstars, do you think it's more the lucha libre style, like a person like a person like Andrade or something like that?
Honestly, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like if somebody doesn't, like me, I'm one half Italian. My mother was born in Italy, but you know, if someone were to ask me what's my nationality or what's my nationality, I'll probably just say American. I grew up in America. My dad's family is mostly from America, but I'm not going to go. If I was a wrestler, I wouldn't say, well, my mom was born in Italy, so I'm an Italian wrestler. You know, so. Oh
yeah, no, but do you understand what I'm saying? Do you think, besides Roman, it's rare that you see them push a ton of other like minority wrestlers to the moon, besides Roman, of course. It seems like they tend to focus more on, I'm not saying WWE is racist. It seems like they're more focused on the white superstars. Is there a reason for that?
I honestly don't know. I just think that they see who the fans gravitate to, either in a good or a bad way, who gets the best reactions, and that's what they're going to push at the time.
So you don't think it has anything to do with being them like not pushing them to the moon because they're a minority or not, or anything like that?
I mean,
I've read articles that interviewed former wrestlers that wrestled with WWE, that they forced them to do gimmicks like racially stereotypical gimmicks. Oh, it was The Godfather originally. Originally he didn't want to do like certain gimmicks because it was like too racist, stereotypical.
You also got to think that was 25 years ago. WWE has evolved tremendously since then.
Oh, okay. So you don't, they don't do it. No, because they did it with Kofi Kingston when he first came in. They advertised him as a Jamaican wrestler,
right?
When he wasn't.
And Santino Marella doesn't really have an Italian accent.
He's from Canada, isn't he?
Yes. So it's like anyone can play a character. It's just playing a character. It doesn't really matter. They can do what they want as far as character-wise goes. I mean, they can have Dean Ambrose leave for a little...
Ginger's a perfect example. I know he's Indian descent, but he's not like... He's Canadian.
Talking about Ginger?
Ginger's from Canada.
Ginger's also from Canada. His family was from India, but he was born and raised in Canada.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Do you think do you think they try to do it because they're trying to push into that market? Do you think it's ever going to happen to where we're going to be able to do that, like not do a racially stereotypical gimmick or something like that, to where so they can get behind like a baby face naturally and stuff like that? I mean,
I want to say thank you.
Type of markets, like,
I want to say thank you for the call. It's too hard to say. You got to look at all the different people. It's different with every person. It was funny when they did the Kofi deal when he first came in. Everyone thought he was really from Jamaica. He had the Jamaican accent. And then a couple years later, Triple H even made fun of it at a Survivor Series. It's talking about, oh, you used to have an accent. It's like with Carlito. He's from Puerto Rico. And they did the whole Carlito, Caribbean, cool kind of deal with him. And I mean, people get mad when they don't play up that somebody is of a certain descent. But then when they overplay it up, they get even more mad. So you can't really, what's the word I'm looking for? Make everybody happy. You can't make everybody happy with this character's doing this, or this character's being used like this, or this guy's actually being used as this. So I don't know. It's weird. And Lewis Hawks, yes, I was going to mention that, but the caller didn't really give me a chance to state that. His last name is Lopez because it was his stepfather's last name. He took his stepfather's last name because he doesn't, what's the word I'm looking for? Doesn't really, he has said it in the past, he's not really close with his biological father. So he ended up taking his stepfather's last name. So, I don't know. That's like a really sensitive subject. It's hard to say because it's different for every person. And it's just, I don't know. Let's take another call. Caller on the air, what's going on?
What's up, Tim?
How's it going?
Doing good, sir. There's a question I need to ask you.
Okay.
I haven't heard anything about it, and I just wanted to know if you've heard anything. Is there anything going on with Paige at this point?
As of right now, I haven't heard her name come up since the movie came out.
Exactly. Because I was just like, well, one time, didn't you were mentioning that they were going to give her like a backstage role or something like that, or once she stepped down as general manager when the McMahons took over, and
I had said that she wouldn't mind being a manager for somebody, like being somebody's mouthpiece.
Okay, I got mixed up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because she did an interview. She did an interview when she was on the press tour for Fighting With My Family, and they asked her, hey, so you're not the general manager anymore. If they allowed you to do any kind of role you wanted since you can't wrestle, what would you like to do? And she was like, well, I wouldn't mind if they paired me with like a guy or even a girl and they let me be their manager. Are they going to do that? I don't know. Last I heard, her contract expires around the same time as Dean Ambrose's at the end of April. Does she stay? We'll have to see. I haven't heard anything.
Okay, I was just wondering about that, and because I'm a big fan of Paige. I loved her work, and even as a general manager, she was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And but now the whole thing with the Miz and Shane McMahon is how long do you think this is going to go on? I've just been wondering about that one.
I think it'll end at Mania. I think that'll be the big blow off because if you really think about this has been a long form storyline since November in Crown Jewel.
That's right. Yeah.
So I think Mania, you end it. Babyface Miz can pick up the victory and move on.
Oh, exactly. And I like him as a face, by the way. I think he's a lot better than he is a heel. But
no, I don't know if I could agree with that one. Heel Miz is probably one of the best heels on the mic they have. But, he's not bad as a babyface either. But I would prefer him as a heel.
Right. And, but I know you've been getting questions about this whole thing, and I've been thinking about it, too, about the whole thing with Charlotte. Is there any chance they're going to maybe, they're going to probably just invent one new brand new women's title for like both Raw and SmackDown?
I've tried to figure that out. I've got no answers on that because nobody really knows right now. They did what they did yesterday and really didn't tell anybody much of anything.
That's another Vince McMahon thing for you.
Basically.
But, and I forgot to ask, how are you doing tonight, man?
Good. I'm doing really good. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And, of course, I love your show, and, I love listening to you and also the updates that you always give us on PW Insider. So,
thank you.
But, yeah, you do a great job. Keep up the good work, brother. You're always doing good. So.
All right. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. And, one other question for you. You were talking about NXT. You said a moment ago, I was just listening in. You were talking about you were looking forward to the Gargano and Adam Cole match. Is there another match that you're probably looking forward to at an NXT TakeOver?
Matt Riddle and Velveteen Dream should be a pretty good match as well. The whole show's going to be really good. Aleister Black and Ricochet versus the War Raiders. How can that not be bad? Pete Dunne versus
God.
Walter? That's going to be like something that we haven't
can't
seen
wait
in a
for
long
that.
time. The whole show is just going to, I think that whole show is going to be good. Even the women's four-way will probably be pretty good.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's going to be. Well, that was another question. What's your prediction on the women's four-way? A lot of people are predicting Bianca Belair. Who do you think?
I wouldn't put it on Belair. I think it's too soon.
Yeah, she's a little too green, if you ask me.
I think unless they're calling up Shayna Baszler, which I haven't heard her name at all for call-ups, keep the title on Shayna Baszler. She's a perfect heel champion.
Oh God, yeah, and also you got Maria Shafir and also Jessamine Duke, who also helps her, which is fantastic.
Yep.
And then, but no, and that was the other. That's one thing he was talking about, like with Walter, and Walter's a fantastic wrestler. I loved everything he's been doing overseas. So. But anyways, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But Tim, thank you for taking my call. And
Not a problem.
Good night.
Thanks for the call and have a great night.
Thank you. You too.
All right. So with that, looking over at the text messages here, got a couple of them. This person says, I think G1 SuperCard will be better than WrestleMania from a match standpoint, and you're probably not too wrong on that one. This person says, who do you think is going to come out victorious at TakeOver? I'm not going to say that now because we're going to do our predictions next week. I think next week's Wednesday show is going to be very prediction heavy. This person says, if we're making a Money in the Bank ladder match, who would you put in it? So this person says, if they were to do Money in the Bank at Mania, who would I put in Money in the Bank? And I mean, it doesn't matter if they do it at Mania or if they do it at Money in the Bank the next month. If I were to book Money in the Bank, the men's match, I'd say you've got 6 people. Kevin Owens, Mustafa Ali, The Miz. Let's throw in there a Roman Reigns. Why not? 2 more people. This is a tough one. If Kofi doesn't win the title, put Kofi in there. You got a red hot babyface. You need someone else from Raw. Shoot. Finn's probably the IC champion after Mania. Thinking of more people on Raw. Just a random person. Screw it. Returning Sami Zayn. That's how I would book the men's Money in the Bank this year. This person says Vince screwed Asuka, and I feel like they haven't used her as much in a storyline as I wish they did when they put the title on her. True. They could have used Asuka a lot better as the champion. Basically, Asuka won the title to get over Ronda Rousey. It was more like a, ha, Ronda Rousey screwed Becky and Charlotte. Oh, hey, by the way, she helped Asuka. Wasn't her plan, but she helped Asuka. Looking at the live chat. Slam Hub, I don't know because it depends on how they're going to set up Madison Square Garden. He's asking what the stage setup for G1 SuperCard is going to be. And they have 2 options. They can either do coming out that big entrance on the side like they did for Royal Rumble 2008, Royal Rumble 2000. They've done for a couple of other shows, WWE-wise. Or they can go the route of having an actual ramp and a little stage. Can't have anything too big at MSG, but they can have a ramp and a little stage like they did for WrestleMania 20 as well. And I don't know. With both Ring of Honor and with New Japan, they usually do simple stages. One big Titantron, maybe a couple little other video screens, and that's about it. They don't go over the top with their stages and whatnot. They keep it very simple 99.9% of the time. Let's take one final call here. Caller on the air, what's going on?
Hey, Tim.
How's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Pretty good.
All right, that's good. My question is about this whole Kofi Kingston storyline. I know he already has the match set for Mania, but the whole process of him getting to the match, did you think that was, I know I've been hearing the controversy a lot, racist? Or what's your take on that?
I wouldn't call it racist. I mean, it's basically the Daniel Bryan storyline of you're not good enough. You're a B-plus player. Would you have called the Daniel Bryan storyline racist?
No, but just the fact that, you know, I feel like you put Kofi through more trouble than it did Daniel.
No, because did Vince ever say anything about race?
No, not necessarily.
The race thing was all fan speculated and a very little bit kind of put out there by Big E. Little bit. But other than that, they never once made it about race.
But still, I mean, you got to think about it. I mean,
no.
I know it's a business. Like, you know, like, things can be taken the wrong way, especially these days.
Right. And the whole thing was, and they've said it over the last 2 weeks, Kofi, we don't think you're good enough because you're a B-plus player, not because you're African-American.
Yeah, that is true. But, I mean...
Because, I mean, it's the same thing they told Daniel Bryan. Stephanie kept telling Daniel Bryan, Daniel, you can't be a top guy because you're a B-plus player. They didn't say, Daniel, you can't be a top guy because you're white. It's basically the same kind of deal.
That's true. Yeah, but, you know, it's just I thought that was a little odd. But, I mean, I guess now that you explained a little better, I guess that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. So my other question was the fact that they gave Charlotte for the women's championship. So does this mean, like, whoever wins the triple threat match gets both titles?
Your guess is as good as mine. Nobody knows what's going on. I've tried to find this out. Nobody knows.
It can go either way. It's kind of like up in the air right now. We don't know.
Basically, it could be just for the Raw title. Like, I did hear one thing saying that it might only still be just the Raw Women's Championship match.
Then
yes.
Then there's really, if that's the case, then there's really no point to giving Flair the title.
No, there is, because apparently, like what I heard today was, yes, maybe only the Raw Women's title is going to be on the line. They could put both titles. Anything can change in the next 13 days. 12, 13 days, however many days there are.
Yeah.
But from what I was hearing, Becky's going to win, move over to Raw, and they were all ready to put Charlotte as the champion on SmackDown anyways. Charlotte was apparently in line to win the title on SmackDown after Mania anyways. They just pushed that up a month or two.
Oh. But
that's something that I heard today.
Oh, okay. But, like, once WrestleMania ends, like, and everybody moves on, like, what are they going to do with Flair as the champion on SmackDown? Like, are they going to have Asuka re-challenge or somebody else?
I don't know. They can have Asuka challenge. You also got to think, Superstar Shakeup. Who do they move?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Asuka can go to Raw and challenge Becky. Asuka can go to Raw and challenge Becky.
True. Who would be worthy of coming to SmackDown?
Remember, Asuka tapped Becky out at the Royal Rumble.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That's true. You think maybe somebody like, say, Sasha Banks could come over to SmackDown and, you know, maybe challenge Charlotte?
Maybe not immediately, since I believe her and Bayley will probably retain the women's tag titles.
That's true.
I mean, maybe Natalya moves over and they give Natalya a push. Maybe a babyface Natalya.
Yeah, right.
Maybe a babyface Natalya against a heel Charlotte Flair. We know that they're
true.
good
That's
together in the ring.
Mm-hmm. That's true. What else? Yeah, okay, so last question. Rollins versus Lesnar, this upcoming Monday, is there any more, like hype for that match, or is that it? Because, like, I don't know, like, the hype isn't convincing me. There hasn't been any, like, good promos or anything leading towards that match. Brock versus Seth.
Oh, Brock. You said Braun. I was confused.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about
I
that.
mean,
Yeah,
I think
Brock
the match is going to be what it is. I'm not putting too much hype on it because it's a Brock Lesnar match, and you never know how Brock's going to feel the day of. I mean, go back to WrestleMania 32. Dean Ambrose was going into that hardcore match with Brock Lesnar thinking, you know, this guy can have a pretty good hardcore match with me. I've got a bunch of ideas, and this is going to be really fun and cool. They get to the day of the show. Dean starts to try to pitch some ideas to Brock, and Brock just goes, I'm just going to throw you around for a little while, and then we'll end the match. Brock just didn't want to do much, and we don't know how Brock's going to be at Mania. We don't know if Brock's going to want to go out there and do a lot of stuff with Seth, or if it's going to be
honestly, like...
Yep.
Like, Seth is my personal favorite, and like, to see him in a match, you know, like, with Brock and the way he wrestles, like, I don't think that's, like, I don't like that. Like, I don't know.
But I digress though. Who has Brock had his best matches with over the last couple of years? Finn Balor, Daniel Bryan, and AJ Styles. three guys that are similar in style to Seth Rollins.
That is true, yeah. Maybe
So
he put on something similar like how we did with Styles at Survivor Series last year.
Yeah, so if
Or the year before.
Brock goes in there willing to work and not just, how long do I got to stay out there for? This could be a pretty good match. It all depends on Brock's mood the day of, and Brock is a very moody person.
That is true. Hopefully he comes in with the right attitude and the right mentality. That's true. All right, well, thanks, Tim. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you for the call and have a great night.
You too. Thank you.
All right, so with that, about to wrap this up, but I got a text message I'm pretty interested in. Not really a text message, but this person said something I've been thinking. It says Ember Moon to SmackDown when she's healed. I like that. SmackDown needs another female that's great in the ring. Well, I don't know if I can say that Ember's great, but any other female that's really good and that can hold her own with basically anybody, and Ember's that person. So I think Ember Moon going to SmackDown can really help that division. That's another very solid worker. Yeah, you've got Mandy Rose, who's still, I can't call her green anymore, but she's still progressing. You got Lana, who's meh. You got Sonya Deville, who's better than Lana, but not on the Mandy Rose level. She may be as good as Mandy. That's a tough one. You got Naomi, who's really pretty good, but you don't have anybody that's really good other than like Charlotte's probably gonna stay on SmackDown and Asuka. So if you add like an Ember Moon to SmackDown, she could thrive on SmackDown. I think Ember can thrive on SmackDown and be a top player. I like that idea a lot. But with that, I'll say thank you to everybody who watched us live here for the PW Unlimited Wednesday show, episode number 69 on March 27th, 2019. I want to thank you also to everybody who watched later, either right here on YouTube or on iTunes, listened over there. And we'll be back again tomorrow. We'll be back at 11 a.m. Pacific for the PW Daily Show. That show is every Monday through Friday right here on the PW Unlimited YouTube channel. And always follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Pro Wrestling ULTD. Follow us on Twitter, PW Unlimited. And the reason I always harp the social medias is because sometimes YouTube doesn't like to send out a notification. But we always post out our videos on social media 99% of the time. So if you're not getting a notification from YouTube that we posted a new video or that we went live, you should be getting it from your social media channels. Either Instagram, not Instagram. Instagram doesn't work with links or anything, but with Facebook or with Twitter. So again, if you are having issues with YouTube not notifying you when we either post new videos or go live, just always keep a lock on our Twitter and Facebook as well. With that, I want to say thank you guys for the calls. Thank you for the text messages. Thank you for the great interaction in the live chat. We'll see you again next time. Have a great night, guys.